PG-13.
Scotty boy, welcome to week 1 of NFL. How we doing, sir? We still got to come up with a
Oh, we're
name for the
good.
show.
We're good.
I'm
Yes, we
putting
have
that.
not come up with a name for the show yet. So if you have an idea, please let us know in the chat. Um, I'd also like to shout out what an honor it is to have Carly in the chat with us tonight, representing the Packers.
And
Um,
Scotty
no,
on.
this is exciting. Week 1, we got a game going on right now. Much different than I thought it would be. 14-14 as of now. But no, week 1, this is when we get started. I'm excited to get some picks in. I'm excited to, man, I'm hoping for like a 10-2 type week, just like an easy start, something simple. No, we'll see. This is the start of the season, the start of our bet. And yeah, new season. Slate is clean.
Slate is clean. So yeah, we're gonna do. Everybody in the chat already. We love to see it. Rudy, Charles, Matt. You mentioned Carly. Shout out Evelyn. Thanks for jumping in. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening on the podcast, make sure to give us 5 stars, please, on the rating. We are also going to do what we did for week 2 college yesterday. We're going to do 12 games on the YouTube, and then we're going to do a bonus 2 games for our podcast listeners at the end. So make sure to tune in and stay on for those. Scotty Boy, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, I'll get us started here. We're going to start with the Chiefs at the Chargers, tomorrow's game. Look, the Chiefs for me are coming down the mountain. They've reached the peak. They're starting to come down the mountain for me. The Chiefs did win both matchups last season against the Chargers. They won 17-10, covering a 6.5-point spread, and 19-17. They did not cover that spread there, but they did win both games against the Chargers last year. With Mahomes as their starter, they are 6-1 straight up and 5-2 at the spread in week 1 with Mahomes. Now, one of those losses was to the 2023 12-5 Lions team. Don't forget. So talented team they lost to there. They're playing at a neutral site. Neutral site games, they are 5-2 at the spread. And both of those neutral site losses were Super Bowl losses to Tampa Bay and Philly. You're shaking your head like you had that one up your sleeve as well. But look, when it comes down to it, you get Andy Reid, you got Spags, you got Chris Jones. Yes, Kelsey's getting old, but he's still Kelsey. You got the power of the Swifties with this team, and you got Mahomes. And we said it all year last season. I'll say it again. When you bet against Mahomes, you just lose. So I think the Chargers team is talented. I think what they have going on there is good. They're going to continue to be stronger, but just right now, I think the Chiefs are too overwhelming in a week 1 game where your offense is slow. You're relying on your defense, and the Chiefs are one of my 3 teams where their offense coming out slow doesn't matter. They're going to be ready to go. So I just don't think the Chargers, that defense is going to hold up. I don't think Herbert is going to have enough with Lad McConkey to keep up with the Chiefs. So for that reason, I'm going Chiefs, neutral territory, -3.5.
I'm with you, and you said it very well. So I'm pretty much going to leave it at that. I'm going with the keg, Patrick Mahomes, doing his best to impersonate Andy Reid this Halloween. I'm going with him until the wheels fall off, until they show me otherwise. I just can't really trust this Chargers team. They lost some folks. Their wide receiver core is a little bit shaky. I don't know if we can fully trust Amari and Hampton to be an every down back every week this season in the NFL. So the running game's a little suspect also. I just can't do it. Give me the proven winners. I'm with you. Give me the Chiefs -3.5.
It's the smart play. I see the chat too. I see what's going on here with the Packers and the Lions. We will get to this game and we'll settle the beef. Gator Dave, what's going on? Look, I'm curious how many we're going to have the same picks here, especially week 1. I don't know if you guys remember, but towards the end of the season, Miami did start to understand the picks I were making sense. So we'll see how many head-to-heads we have here in week 1. Moving on, we got the Cardinals at the Saints. Look, the Cardinals were 11-6 at the spread and 5-3 away at the spread last year. They won week 1 on the road versus the Bills last year, 7-point underdog. I remember that game because I had the Bills thrashing them. Did not happen. You got Trey McBride. Yes, he was afraid and allergic to the end zone last year, but he started to find his way in there. He caught a lot of passes. You got Murray, you got James Conner, you got Harrison Jr., who I think is going to take a sophomore year. He's going to take that leap into a lead role there. And he did well in year 1. I just think he's going to take that jump to the next level. They added Josh Sweat. They got Calais Campbell. Yes, he's old, but he's there. Look, the Saints, first-time head coach Kellen Moore. They just named Spencer Rattler their starting quarterback. When he is leading the Saints, he is 0-6 as a starter last year, 1-5 at the spread, and the team averaged 12.3 points per game under his leadership. Look, he's just not it. They're relying on him because that's all they have right now. He's good enough. Because of that, give me the young offense led by Connor, led by Murray, a team that's been together for more than a few years and a proven track record. They can score points. This pick right here is my better bird of the week. Give me the Cardinals -6.5. You're shaking your head.
Gross. It's gross. All right. This is my first one that made me sick when I wrote it down on paper. First one of the year. I'm going with the Saints +6.5.
Oh my God.
I'm going with the Saints +6.5. I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be sneaky good. I think they shock the Cardinals. Look, Kyler Murray's been playing Battlefield 6. All right, he's not worried. He's been getting all those corny ass skins in Call of Duty. He's not been worried about this. They're looking over this Saints team. Nobody's gonna respect this Saints team until they show them and they punch them in the mouth. All right, and that's what's gonna happen on Sunday in New Orleans. Saints are going to sneaky. I don't really like the 6.5. I'm going to do it anyway because it's just ugly and I'm diving in full heads first. But I would definitely try to get it up to at least 7 if you can. It's probably going to get there by Sunday. There's probably, if I had to guess, going to be a good amount coming in on the Cardinals side because there's no respect for the Saints here. Kellen Moore, the head coach, he led the Eagles to a Super Bowl. What are we doing? No respect for this guy. No respect. DC comes in. Going to turn it all around. They got Chase Young on the outside. Cameron Jordan. Sneaky. Give me the Saints. Give me the Saints +6.5. We got to spice things up. Give me the head-to-head. Let's go.
All right. Our first head-to-head of the year, and it is disgusting from your perspective.
It's awful.
All right, so speaking of disgusting, let's get into the Panthers at the Jags here. Look, the Panthers, in my eyes, they're still the Panthers, but you got to remember at the end of last season, they started to pick it up. They started to perform better. Bryce Young started to come along. They were 5-12, but had a lot of close games at the end of the year. The Jags, they probably have what some are calling the most exciting player from the draft in years in Travis Hunter. I'm curious how they're going to use him. We talked about it on our last show. Are they going to use him on offense, defense? They're going to waste some of his potential. We'll see. I can't buy into the team yet because Trevor Lawrence, he plays okay, but he just doesn't have it. The rest of their team, there's some, Brian Jr., he's pretty good. I mean, they've got some players, but they just can't put it together. I can't buy into. I see what they're going to do with Travis Hunter. Young started to come alive, like I said. Better O-line. Hubbard, I think, is a stud. I absolutely hate it. This is where I'm in the same position as you as the last game. I wrote it down on paper. I almost threw up. I'm going to take the Panthers +3.5, and it's disgusting.
Well, I'm going to raise you disgusting level, and I'm going to go with the Jaguars -3.5. I am Duval. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, all right? I think this is finally the year Trevor Lawrence gets it done. I mean, shit, he needs to. They made him, a top 5 highest paid quarterback in the league, and he hasn't done anything. He's got the same record as Daniel Jones. So, he's got to do something this year. They're putting weapons around him. You mentioned Brian Thomas, Travis Hunter. It sounds like they're going to use Travis Hunter mainly as a wide receiver. I think they listed him as it was either 3 or 4 on their unofficial, depth chart for corner. So it sounds like, in pass only situation, they'll have him out there on the field, but for the most part, he is going to be wide receiver. So I think that's big in terms of consistency and just opening it up for Trevor Lawrence. They made some improvements on the O-line. They got ETN back. They got Bigsby back. I think this offense is going to I think they're going to do enough. You got Liam Cohen, the head coach. He was the OC for last year with Baker Mayfield. Got the most out of him with a banged-up wide receiver core, banged-up running back room. So I think he's going to be able to have some things up his sleeve to get by this Panthers defense. I was leaning between the Jaguars -3.5 and the under. Ultimately, I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars just to make it a true head-to-head.
I like it.
But I could also definitely see the under in this being a defensive battle. Panthers got some guys on defense, and Bryce Young obviously made huge strides. But if I remember correctly, I believe they're having issues on their O-line for the Panthers right now. They got some guys hurt, potentially not going to play. Robert Hunt being one of those guys. They signed him this offseason from my Dolphins. He's a stud. He's a difference maker in the trenches. So without those guys, the front seven for Jaguars, I think they're going to be able to eat. So that's where I'm at. Jaguars -3.5. But it's gross. It's gross.
It's gross. I love that. I love the head-to-head. It's like you said with Travis Hunter. Would you really put him on your?
We got to do it early.
Give away to the league what you're trying to do with him. I'm curious what they're going to do with him on defense. Charles, I see you in the chat. I'm sorry. I just can't buy into you guys yet. I hope by week 10 I'm picking you every week, but right now I just can't do it.
Week 10 is crazy.
All right, moving on to your beloved Finns, Miami at the Colts. I'm going to say it. This is my week 1 turd of the week game. This game, if you don't turn it on, you're probably not going to miss much. I don't love this game. I think I do hate it. Look, the one shout out I will give is to my boy Kenny Moore, VSU alumni for the Colts, captain again this year. But look, when it comes down to it, the Colts are 0-9-1 in the last 10 openers. Miami, on the other side, I would argue they're kind of in shambles all around their team. Tyreek Hill, why was he not voted captain again? It's interesting to see how his team feels about him. I'm just going to bring it up. That's something damaging.
He wasn't voted captain because he was talking shit about his team and wanted off and had more fucking babies last year than touchdowns. That's why he wasn't voted captain. All right?
Exactly. The locker room is just, there's an earthquake happening in there right now. Look, Danny Dimes, that's who the Finns are playing, okay? Mid-tier quarterback. When it comes down to it, the biggest key for me and Danny Dimes being successful in the field is Miami might be a better defensive team without starting a DB on the field. That's how bad their DBs have been playing. Look, I'm just going to go with the easy pick. It's my turd of the week. I'm just going to go with the team that I think is going to perform better because I think they have a better defense. It's going to be an ugly, ugly game. And I'm going to just go with the home team. Give me the Colts, but I'm going to take a money line.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's Colts money line. I do not trust the Dolphins whatsoever. You mentioned the corners. We are banged up. We had like 4 guys get hurt. We traded away Jalen Ramsey. We got Minka, but he's not going to play corner. And then the guys that were supposed to replace Ramsey, 2 or 3 of them went down. So it's not good at all for the secondary right now. Daniel Jones is going to light them up. And people are going to be like, oh, wow, Daniel Jones, man, maybe he finally figured it out. No, the Dolphins just suck. All right, I'm telling you that right now. It's the Colts money line all day long. All day long. That's it. Period. Point blank, period. Mike McDaniels, you got to go. Got to go.
I'm happy I don't have to change any biased minds here, and you're on board for the fish out of water here. But, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope Tua snaps and goes off. I don't think
he might snap. He might snap.
Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Evelyn. Go Colts.
Yep, go Colts. All right, moving on. The next game, AFC North matchup, we got Cincinnati versus the Poo-Poos. For those of you who do not know, that is the Cleveland Browns. Look, this one's easy for me. Yes, everyone says defense starts faster than offense, but like I mentioned earlier, there are probably three teams, and that's Kansas City, Cincinnati, and the Lions for me, where I think it's not true, and their offense comes ready to go week one. Cincinnati is, like I said, one of those teams. There's no way Cincinnati's outscored here. Chase Brown, they got Joey B, who I said might be an MVP contender this year. They got Jamar Chase, who might go for the Triple Crown. I just don't see how Cincinnati loses this game, which is scary because when you look at a game and the spread's 5.5 and you go, that doesn't make any sense. This should be a eight point spread here because there's no way they're losing this game. Makes me think that someone knows something I don't. But I'm going to take the young, explosive offense against the Poo-Poos. Cincinnati minus 5.5. This one's short and sweet for me. I don't know why it's this easy, though. Tell me why. What am I missing?
You're missing the fact that Joe Burrow is just 3-5 against the Browns in his career. For whatever reason, it's been a team that's sort of had his number. And it's not because he's played poorly. He's actually done pretty well. 15 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, almost 2,000 yards in just 8 career games. So he's performed. He's held up his side of the bargain. But, man, those defenses have been pretty bad for the Bengals as of late. They have a new defensive coordinator, Al Golden, who was Notre Dame's defensive coordinator last year, led him to a national championship, helped him do that. And also former Miami Hurricane head coach and used car salesman with a tie. So he is now the DC. He should actually be able to turn them around and have some success. Trey Hendrickson ended his buyout. He ended up signing a deal, so he's back with the Bengals playing with them. For that reason, I tend to lean towards the under. I can't trust the Browns offense. I think Joe Flacco is the right move. I like Joe Flacco. I think he's actually going to be able to do some good things with that offense. They have some weapons when healthy for the Browns. But I'm going to go the under here, 47.5. I just think Joe Burrow's going to struggle a little bit. Again, for whatever reason, Browns sort of have his number, especially in Cleveland. Divisional matchup, home dog. Browns are even a little tempting for the spread. Ultimately, I think this one also, you look at the history side of it, the Bengals have not started off well in their season openers, week 1, week 2, the last few years under Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, head coach. So I kind of also lean the Browns, but I'm going to go the safer bet under 47.5.
Yeah, it's a really good point, starting slow win-wise for Cincinnati. It's not their offense. It's usually their defense that blows the game. And if they could start, 3-2 every season, they'd be making the playoffs, pretty easily the last few years. We'll see what happens. I hope they both lose, but that's, no particular reason there.
Real quick, one more thing on that game for the under. The last 7 matchups between these two teams have gone under the number 47.5. So
I'm not surprised. Here we go. We're back on Miami Mike's under train. Back like he never left. The man only likes unders, which in this case, I don't hate the under in this game here. But it's week 1. I'm not taking over-unders. We're here for spreads. All right, moving on. One that's going to be close to a couple people.
It's all about defense. Defense wins championships there, Scott.
Fair enough. A game here that's close to a couple people in the chat. We got the Bucs at the Falcons. I think that this is a very good game in week 1. The Falcons, I will admit, are no longer a joke of a team. Drake London, they got Penix at the helm. They got great players that some people have told me are going to have phenomenal years, like Kyle Pitts. I don't know if I fully believe it, but we'll see if he's ready to make a difference. Look, where I get stuck between these two teams is, and I hear a lot of people talking up the Falcons and how good they're going to be, but they forget the Bucs have talent. The Bucs have good players. They got Baker Mayfield. They got Evans. They got Bucky Irving, who I think is pretty good. And they got, I'm going to mess it up. I messed up every time. Mbika, the rookie, who now you got to guard Evans. You got to guard him. They got a lot of talent offensively, and they always have a strong defense. So For me, it's tough. I did some analysis and looked at where the public is sitting because I was just curious. And right now, the public is heavy on Tampa Bay. This was probably like 4 hours ago. Tampa Bay, 75% of the money line bets are on Tampa Bay. 69%, nice, of the spread is on Tampa Bay. And 63% is on the over. So people think that there's going to be some points in this game, which I would not be surprised. But I just think I can't fully get behind the Falcons yet because they are hit or miss. Penix hasn't played a full year. We'll see what happens, what kind of relationships he's built in the offseason with the playmakers he has. It should be a step forward for the Falcons, but Tampa Bay is coming back with the same players, the same shot callers, the same quarterback they had on the field. So I think they're going to be closer and they're just going to be more effective in week 1. So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay outscoring the Falcons here. So give me Tampa Bay -1.5. If it was 3.5, I will say it would be a harder decision, but at 1.5, I'll take Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you sort of threw this one on me. I did not want to touch this one just because it's a coin flip. These teams match up very well.
Did it for
with each
Evelyn.
other. I did it for Evelyn. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Navoski. Shout out to Will. Yeah, it's ugly. It's absolutely ugly. But I'm going to go with the home divisional dog here. Give me the Falcons plus the 1.5 to get it done. It is extremely gross. I probably won't end up actually touching this one with a 10-foot pole. I do also like maybe a Bijan Robinson anytime. Just throwing that out there.
Don't hate it.
But I think this offense, now it's Michael Penix's team. It's kind of been established. They don't have that issue of bouncing between cousins who they paid that big money. Do they want to do that? Do they not want to do that? They don't have that problem anymore. Everybody knows their role. Everybody's stepping into that. I think they're going to buy in to what Raheem Morris is trying to do here in the second year. I look for the defense to improve. It was great last year. I think it's going to improve even more.
Pause. Breaking news. Saquon Barkley in the end zone.
Touchdown. We love to see it.
Big.
We love to see it. Now we just need the Cowboys to finish it out. For the record, I was on the Cowboys. We left that off this show because we didn't get on in time. But I was on the Cowboys and you were on the Eagles. For the record.
Right. And I'm still on the Eagles, even though we had some
you're going down, buddy. You're going down. Give me the money line for the Cowgirls. They're going to get it done. Shout out Dave. Shout out Gator Dave.
Not happening.
Shout out Mr. Clay, too, if you're out there.
Let's stop talking about the Cowgirls here. Come on.
Okay, my bad. I'm getting sidetracked. Yeah, so give me the Falcons plus 1.5. I ultimately think the offense is going to be clicking. I think the defense is going to improve. They made a lot of improvements on the D-line for the Falcons. They got some rushers to get after the quarterback. I think they're going to put some pressure on Baker Mayfield. I'm not entirely sold on the Buccaneers offense. They have a lot of guys hurt with the wide receiver core. Jalen McMillan, Chris Godwin, they're both out. So you mentioned Emeka Egbuka, coming in at wide receiver 2. Oh, yeah, for sure. And so they got him coming in at wide receiver 2. He's going to get a lot of snaps. It's going to be very interesting to see how he steps in. A lot of people are very high on him for potentially Rookie of the Year. There are a lot of comparisons potentially to Jamar Chase and such. So we'll see. He's got big expectations, but I think the Falcons find a way to get it done at home in an ugly game. Maybe just back and forth field goals kind of game. So maybe even look at the under there, but give me the Falcons. Head-to-head, baby. Head-to-head. We're all about it.
Head-to-head. Here we go.
Let's figure this out week 1.
Miami,
shout out Evelyn.
You've got a direct request in the chat.
They
are asking for the Drink Boob lock of the week. So think about what that's going to be as we continue here.
Who said that? Who said that?
That'd be Mr. Butts.
I may be changing one of my picks now. I may be changing.
We got time. We got a couple more before we get there. All right, moving on. We got the Giants at the Manders. Look, for me, you hear a lot. I think maybe even you had said this. Some other people have said it. I can't remember if you exactly said this, but a lot of people are talking about the sophomore slump of Jaden Daniels. I do not buy it. I think that he's a commander. See what I did there? On the field. He's going to lead the team. He's an athlete. Gets it done. Yes, they got lucky with some Hail Marys towards the end of the season, but the team plays together, and that puts them in a position where, sometimes you get a little lucky and you win a game you shouldn't win. Happens all the time to Kansas City. Look, I like this Commanders team. Same players are coming back on offense. They added Debo. Yes, he's older. Yes, he's a little heavier, a little on the thicker side, but I think that he's going to be a great asset to the team this year. I picked him up in some of my fantasy drafts because I think he's going to be, that you got to guard Terry, you got to guard Zach Ertz. Now you got to guard Debo, who's still very talented. Eckler, they got the rookie JCM. Jacory is his first name. I will mess up his last name, so I'll let you handle that. But I just think the Commanders right now, all around, are a much better team. They're not going to have a slump. The Giants have some young talent. They got Carter, who everyone thinks can be Defensive Rookie of the Year. They got some decent playmakers. They got Scattaboo. They got Tracy Jr. But I just don't think the Giants to me are still missing 3 pieces to their puzzle. And the Commanders making it to the NFC Championship game last year. I mean, I do not think there's going to be a sophomore slump. I think they're going to be another 12+ win team. I like them a lot. I like the Commanders a lot. You're going to hear me take them a lot this season. So why wait? Give me the Commanders. I want the Commanders.
Yeah, this was another one that I was not excited when we had to throw this one on there as a replacement for the Eagles-Cowboys game. Because again, this is a toss-up to me. This could go either way. It's disgusting, but the line doesn't make sense, folks. A 6-point spread in this game, for all the reasons that you just said, does not make sense. I've loved
Sometimes
the
Vegas
energy.
gets it wrong.
Hey, I loved the energy around the Giants in the preseason. They looked like they actually enjoyed playing football again. I think that's courtesy. Shout out to Jameis Winston. I think that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. He should get the Teammate of the Year award every year. And he's going to make a lot of money as an analyst once he is done.
Can we talk about Jackson Dart feeding him a W?
That's what I'm saying. You can't go wrong. I will say they did remove one of the 3 Musketeers. Tommy DeVito is no longer there. So that, Russell Wilson, he was kind of on the odd man out. Now he's the guy. It'll be interesting to see if they, stand behind him. And if he starts slow, sort of like what he did with the Steelers, what that does to that confidence. Everybody's feeling good right now, preseason, whatever. Everybody's having fun. Now the pressure's really on. Are they going to be able to perform? I hate this game. I honestly still don't have a pick for this game. I'm going to go with the over in this one. I think the Commanders will be able to find some success. I have them at least scoring, 28 or so. And I think the Giants are going to be able to do some things as well. Enough on offense. They have weapons. I like Malik Neighbors to get at any time as well. But he's not going to sneak up on anybody. But they are going to feed him a lot. So, yeah, go ahead and give me the Giants. I also kind of like the Giants +6. I will say that. Potentially a little sprinkle there in the Giants. The number's weird. The number's weird.
It's a weird number.
But give me the over.
It's a weird
number. Give me the over.
I think Vegas got this one wrong. I think the Commanders are going to blow them out. But another head-to-head will take it. Well, kind of head-to-head will take it. Okay, moving on to the most important game of the week in my eyes, and that would be the beloved Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Jets. We are on the road. It is a Rodgers versus a Fields opposite team redemption game for both of them. I can't really say that for either of them because both of them didn't have great stints with their previous teams, but it is interesting how it happens and how the NFL sets it up that way. I think it's a disgusting game. I think it's a gross game. I think it's a typical Tomlin win. I think the Steelers are better on paper, but it's going to be a gritty, gross football game here. Look, Pittsburgh 4-0 straight up and at the spread in the last 4 week 1 games. It's just something Tomlin does. So that's what I'm alluding to with the Tomlin win. It's going to be gross. There's going to be a Boswell 53-yard field goal attempt at the end, something like that to put us ahead by 3 and take it. Look, the standard is the standard. Do not expect a crazy game here with the Steelers. Yes, we have DK. Yes, we have a new QB in Rodgers. Yes, we have an electric running back, rookie and Johnson. Warren's taking the helm. Some of our offensive line is back and healthy again. We've got good defensive players. We picked up Ramsey, got rid of Minka. But I think we're going to have to wait a couple weeks for this offense to get going. There is no one on earth that hopes more that we go out there and score 35 points, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a maybe 17-point max here cap, thinking like a 16, 17 to 10 type game. Give me the Steelers -2.5 on the road. I just want an ugly Tomlin victory.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's the side, but ultimately I'm going to be on the under here because I agree. I think it's going to be a field goal at the end that wins it like 16-13. Absolutely ugly. If I had to pick a side, I'd be with you with the Steelers. I just think they have a better defense overall, but I'm going the under 38.5. And don't surprise me. Shout out to Evelyn in the chat. At least somebody noticed, all right? I did just take an over. All right, for the record.
I'll give it
for the record.
I'm shocked.
Okay.
Week 1 over. You know what?
See,
you deserve this.
Can't nitpick. All right.
You deserve this under.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Under 38.5. It's going to be disgusting.
That's an ugly number, and this is the only game where I'm like, you know what? Maybe buy it down to 35 because it's going to be disgusting.
Ugly.
It's going to be gross. All right, moving on to another game that is on paper. This is one that I kind of didn't want to touch, but 49ers at the Seahawks. I just am unsure about both these teams, but look, if the 49ers had weapons at receiver like they did in, the last 3 years, this would be an easy decision. Is CMC healthy? These are my notes from 3 hours ago. If Christian McCaffrey is healthy and Purdy's ready to go, the best receiver they have is Ricky. Is it enough? Maybe. Just give the ball to CMC. But then an hour ago, a report comes out, CMC's on the non-practice list for calf injury, which that's what was bothering him all season last season. So if he irritates that again, it's going to be the same thing we've seen, same as last year, just injury after injury, ever since I don't know what year it first occurred. What, 2 years ago? Drink, help me out here. I think it was 2 years ago, right? The calf happens, and then it's just been persistent ever since. He has not been the same. So the other side of the ball, Sam Darnold is leading the Hawks. Cooper Kupp, yeah, I mean, he's still productive, but he's old at this point. He's not the young, explosive player. Yes, you have a couple key offensive players. Your offensive line has improved, but I just don't think it's good enough for Seattle to be better on paper than the 49ers. And for me right now, I'm looking at this team on paper because it's early in the season. Both these teams, they're missing key components on both sides of the ball. I just think, if CMC plays, the 49ers are the way to go. Kittle's there. I just think with Purdy, the 49ers slightly outweigh offensively the Seahawks defense, and it's going to be a slow victory, but they're going to get there. But now this news with CMC, it's got me second guessing myself, but I'm going to stick to my play. I'm not going to take the under because it's week 1 and I'm not weak. I'm going to take the 49ers -2.5. I'm going to stick with my play. And I'm just going to hope that this whole calf nonsense is just a phony lie and someone saw something from last year and they just posted it again. My fingers are crossed.
Well, I'm on the under here, 43.5 for all the reasons that you mentioned and more. I just don't, for the Seahawks side of things, I don't trust Sam Darnold outside of a Kevin O'Connell system. I have to see it to believe it. And until he shows me that, I'm not going to believe it.
That's fair.
DK Metcalf, he's no longer there. That's a big go-to weapon that you can rely on and kind of chuck the ball to at any time. He's gone. Jackson Smith and Jigba is now the number 1. Tyler Lockett's gone. He was a Seahawk reliable forever. He's with the Titans now. So little bit of a shakeup there for the Seahawks. Their defense is going to be elite. Their head coach is defensive mind. So they're going to be ready to go in this one. They know the 49ers well. They know Kyle Shanahan well. McDonald, the head coach, has actually given Kyle Shanahan a little bit of a fit when they've played each other. So I expect that to happen again. And then you mentioned the 49ers' lack of weapons that they have on the outside. Brandon Ayuk got hurt. Juwan Jennings got hurt. They lost the, Deebo Samuel that you mentioned before, who's on Patrick Mahomes, offseason workout regimen. So a lot of missing weapons now for the 49ers on offense. Defense is still going to be elite, in my opinion. They got Rob Salah coming over from the Jets, the head coach there. He's coming back as the DC, where he really made a name for himself with the 49ers to get that job in the first place. So I fully expect him to get this defense right and for them to be rocking and rolling pretty quickly. I just don't trust the offenses in either side here, so I'm going to go with the under 43.5 here.
That's fair. That's fair. It's a fair under. All right, now for the game Mr. Butts has been waiting for. The one and only Detroit Dan Campbell kneecap biting Lions travel to the frozen tundra in Lambeau, take on the Packers week 1. There are 2 games this week that I'm most excited for, besides, of course, the Steelers game, and this is one of them. I think this might be the most exciting watch this week, besides the next game we'll get into. 2 great teams, both playoff contenders. I mentioned how this division, how many wins they had combined the last year, 3 teams getting in between these 2 teams and the Vikings. Look, these teams have Super Bowl ambition, but everyone's talked about it all offseason. The Lions lost Ben Johnson. They lost Aaron Glenn. And if you look back at history, the same thing similar happened to the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. This team lost Shane Steichen, Jonathan Gannon, and then they went 11-6 right afterward. They got whomped in the wild card round by Tampa Bay. So people go back and forth. Will it have an effect? Will it not have an effect? Historically, it seems to have some sort of effect when you change the minds that are leading both sides of the football. But in 2023, Philadelphia did not have Dan Campbell. They were not biting kneecaps off people. Dan Campbell is the heart of this team. He has built the team in a way where I think the departure of these coaches, it's not going to affect them as much as it has, for example, the Philly team in 2023. Look, the Lions have won 4 of the past 7 matchups, including 2 season sweeps of the Packers. So right now the Lions, the scales are tipped to them. But the Packers, Jordan Love, they got some young players. Golden, they drafted, the wide receiver seems pretty good. They're getting Watson. The Packers are a little scary. They're a good team. They're always going to win 10 games and find their way in the playoffs. And then the Micah Parsons news drops, and they get a game changer on defense. It's tough. He's new to the system. He's got to learn the players he's playing with on the defensive side of the ball. Luckily, it's not.
He doesn't have a working spine right now.
Okay, we're going to get there. He doesn't have a working spine. All right, so doesn't have a working spine. What I was going to get to was all of these factors. For me, the team Dan Campbell has and has built is resilient. They're going to continue to be the Lions we saw year after year. They have all their players back for the majority, all their explosive offensive players. They've made some adjustments on their defense. I just don't think Micah is the answer to beat this Lions team right now. Yes, he might not have a spine. Yes, he's still a good football player. Look, Lions plus 2.5. I will not turn down the Lions with 3 points. It will not happen. It won't happen unless like 18 players are hurt and they're fielding a different team. I'm taking Lions at the points every single time. It's going to be a great game, but I'm going to take the 3 points. Give me Lions 2.5.
I think so. It's actually 1.5. You still want them?
What is it?
Plus 1.5.
Yes, 3 points. Give me the points. Lions with the points. Even if it's a half point, give it to me.
Okay, Fair enough. Yeah, I'm with the Lions also. I know they're switching. They have new OC, they have a new DC, but they basically promoted from within. The OC that they brought in basically helped Ben Johnson create that offense when he came into Detroit. So I don't think they're going to skip a beat there on offense. He's just as creative, if not more so. And then on DC, they promoted from within there. They got Kelvin Shepard taking over the linebacker, who's a bit of a journeyman when he was playing in the NFL. So I think he's going to get those guys right. I don't think they're going to skip a beat. I think they're going to be pretty tenacious. So I am going to go with the Lions here as well. Dan Campbell, Matt LaFleur, before Dan Campbell took over as the Lions head coach, he was pretty good against the Lions. He was actually, I think, undefeated, and then Dan Campbell came in, and it's been a completely different story. Dan Campbell is undefeated as the Lions head coach at Lambeau Field. And unfortunately, for Packers fans, they are playing at Lambeau Field in the beginning of September, not the end of November. So weather and elements that are historic, for deciding games and sort of helping the Packers typically, especially against a quarterback like Jared Goff, who is historically better in indoor settings. I think that only favors the Lions. Aiden Hutchinson's coming back from injury. He's going to be hungry to get after it. Packers lost Christian Watson to injury. They traded Romeo Doubs. So it'll be interesting for sure. But I think it'll be a great game. You mentioned it, probably top 3 of the weekend. But I'm with you. And shout out to Matt, even though he tried to throw me under, plus 1.5. Drink boob, lock of the week. No, not on this one. Not on this one. Not that confident. Not quite. Okay. Not quite. But
disregard.
Lions plus 1.5.
I like it. All right, moving on to the next game, which might be the game of the week. We've got the Baltimore Ravens going to Bills Mafia. I think if I had to choose, this is probably the game of the week. These two games, the last game, Lions, Packers, also going to be great, but this game might be the game of the week. Josh Allen, MVP. He holds a 3-2 record over Lamar Jackson. But there's talent all over this field on both sides of the ball. I'd argue Baltimore is much more talented with, Zay Flowers. They got the King, Derrick Henry, whereas Josh Allen, yes, Keon Coleman, pretty good. They got some older wide receivers. They just gave Cook a nice, juicy contract, so you expect to see something out of him. Look, it's tough for me. It's tough to bet against Josh Allen. It's tough to bet against Lamar Jackson unless they're playing each other. The Ravens are 7-1 straight up and at the spread in primetime games since 2022. They've covered the spread in 5 straight games against the Buffalo Bills. I think either team could win this game. I think this is the only game this week, besides maybe Lions-Packers, that legitimately has playoff impact in week 1. I think the winner of this is going to be off to AFC home field advantage. I know it's week 1, it's early, but that's just the way it is. Look, it could go either way. I hate to say this wearing the jersey I'm wearing, but I just think there's too much talent on the Ravens team, and the Bills are going to fall short here in week 1. Give me the Ravens plus 1.5. It makes me sick to say out loud, but I want the Ravens plus 1.5. I also want to say, if you saw the news, so the top 4 award winners of the MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year from last season, they get gold NFL patches this season. Don't know if you saw that. Pretty cool. Addition to the jerseys, just like Walter Payton, when you wear that, you get the Walter Payton patch. But the previous season award winners, they get a gold NFL shield on their chest. So Josh Allen will be repping the gold shield.
Right on. So that line actually is Ravens minus 1.5 now. Believe it or not, bit of a swing there.
I'll take a money line.
So something to consider though. That's pretty significant in terms of numbers and trends if you are into that sort of thing, because Lamar Jackson, as an underdog, especially a low number underdog, is an absolute monster. Especially in September. He's gone 12-2 against the spread in his career in September as an underdog. He is 10-5 straight up as an underdog in his career, which is the best in the Super Bowl era, with a minimum of 10 starts as an underdog. So that sort of takes away that entire statistic with the Ravens being the favorite. Maybe it'll switch back and swing back, but typically, even with the Ravens being the favorite now, even up to about 2 or 3 points, Lamar Jackson typically, historically, number-wise, is pretty good. It's when you get to the high favorites, kind of 7 or up, that's when usually they win the game, but in terms of covering the spread, they usually do not. So I still am going to rock with the Ravens here in this one. I think there's going to be a lot of money and a lot of eyes on Buffalo because of Hard Knocks and whatnot, and they, people are going to want to get behind them based off of that. And I think the Ravens made some sneaky improvements both on defense and offense this year. They added weapons on offense. They shored up their secondary a little bit with guys like Jair Alexander, as long as he can go. I think he's still dealing with like a nagging knee that he's had an issue with since last year. But I'm with you. I think the Ravens are too much. I think it's their time. Give me the Ravens money line in this one to get it done Sunday night prime time.
I like it. I like it. Great primetime game. No,
Absolutely.
Mr. Butts, they are not wearing Jedi patches on their jerseys. I'm sorry to disappoint you. It is Mr. Walter Payton. Okay, moving on to the last game of our stream here, and then we'll get into the remaining games on our podcast, so make sure to check it out. I think usually, within an hour after the stream, it's up on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast, so go check it out. But last game here, we got the Vikings at the Bears and Ben Johnson's new home. I think Ben Johnson is the focus in this game to see what he's going to do with this team. The bigger overall question for me is, and we touched on this in our last show, Caleb Williams has gotten everything he's asked for this offseason. Everything. If he cannot perform this season, I don't think there's an excuse for him anymore. He needs to be the QB that his team and the fans in Chicago want to need him to be. It's a tough start against Minnesota. They always have a decent defense. Their offense just finds way to score points. Maybe it is, hey, throw the ball into the air. Justin Jefferson's down there somewhere, and he's going to make a play. The excitement in Minnesota around J.J. McCarthy. Technically, he's not a rookie, but he is a rookie. He didn't play a snap. He got hurt. Looks good in preseason, but it's preseason. Looks good in practice. We'll see what happens in his first NFL game. Also tough for him. The Bears D isn't a walkover defense. If he was playing Miami, JJ, then I'd say he's going to cook him, but he's not. That was just a subtle jab at Miami there. I had to say it. Look, Minnesota, surprisingly, 0-6 straight up and 1-4-1 at the spread in the past 6 road primetime games. But against an unproven Bears team with a new head coach, yes, it's Ben Johnson, success with the Lions, but I would argue the Bears do not have the same offensive overall talent, and he doesn't have this bag to pull players out of like he did in Detroit. Yes, the Bears have players. Yes, DJ Moore, they got Swift, they got good players. Today, all their running backs were injured today. They had the athletic trainers taking snaps from the quarterbacks at practice today. So maybe that's something to look out for. The only running back out there was Swift. For that reason, I cannot buy in, I cannot back Chicago. I cannot back Caleb Williams till I see what they're going to do. Week 1's always tough when it comes to that. New offenses, new coaches, new players. So I'm going to go with the Vikings, who have been over the last 2 years proving me wrong week after week after week. And then all of a sudden they've won 12 or 13 games. So even though historically their numbers are not very good in these primetime games, give me the proven team that I believe I can trust. Give me Minnesota. Did the line shift, or can I still get them at money line? Because some lines are shifting over the last 2 hours. Okay, we'll take Minnesota money line.
I'm going to take Minnesota money line as well. I'm not too worried about their primetime record. Because when you consider who their last couple quarterbacks are, it kind of makes sense. Sam Darnold in primetime, yeah, no thank you. Kirk Cousins in primetime, absolutely the fuck not. So, that stat doesn't really scare me too much. What scares me is everything you mentioned with the Bears. New head coach coming in. He was obviously disgruntled most of the offseason and during camp with multiple guys on his team, including his starting quarterback, and who's now his starting wide receiver one, Rome Odunze. And as well as Luther Burden, who I believe is wide receiver 3. So, some of these guys on offense that he's expecting the Detroit Lions standard that they were able to establish. And it's going to take some time, I think, in Chicago. I think there's going to be some growing pains. It's not going to happen overnight, unfortunately, for Bears fans. Shout out Rudy in the chat. Saw you there earlier. Appreciate you watching, brother. But, yeah, I think the Bears are unfortunately still a year or two away. Caleb Williams, I think, has some development to do. I wouldn't be surprised, to be real with you, if he got benched in this game. And we saw a little bit of Tyson Bagent. They signed him to an extension for a reason. They trust him and what he can do on offense. Caleb Williams is a bit of a toss-up right now. You don't really know who you're going to get as a quarterback from game to game. A lot of issues with him holding onto the ball, taking unnecessary sacks, not being accurate with the football downfield. Just not what you expect from a guy that you drafted number 1 overall as your franchise quarterback. So I just can't buy into this team yet. I think Vikings are the play here. So go ahead and give me the Vikings to get it done, money line.
I like it. Yes, we finished with some same picks, but that concludes our week 1 on here in the stream. Our picks. We got some nice head-to-heads. We got some exciting games. We're going to get into the rest of the games here on the podcast and also our anytime touchdown picks for the week. But the chat was great.
I like that.
The chat was great this week. Oh, yeah. I've got them lined up and ready.
Slide it to the podcast.
Chat was great this week. Uh-huh. That's where the good, juicy stuff is.
Okay. Yeah, you said it. Chat was great. Thank you for everybody that was watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already here on YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a high rating. Make sure to hit the bell for the notifications so you do not miss a show. We will be here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern this football season. So make sure to tune in on YouTube for the live show. But if you can't catch us, check out the podcast. Shout out to Shop CYA, our sponsor up top. You'll see a medal here as well next week, so definitely get ready for that. It'll be a good season.
Come on.
So go Dolphins. It's not going to happen. It's going to be Colts all day long. Good luck to your Steelers. And
we're in the
week 1, baby. We're here. Hey, I'm watching the game too. What do we got? We're live at we're kicking a field goal. This will help my fantasy team. Jake Elliott for 3. There we go. 24-20 Eagles with 8.5 minutes to go. Go check that out if you aren't already. It's going to be a good end of the game there. We're back. Football is back, Scott.
We are so back. Football is back, baby.
All right. Thank everybody for watching.